Hi. Welcome to another random squirrel. This one, as usual, is going to be all over the place. But no doubt you may have clicked on this because of the title. Well, rest assured, it's not clickbait. It's a true story, and it's kind of an embarrassing story. Although not embarrassing enough for me to feel the need to not, for some reason, put it out there on the internet. And, so, yeah, dirty dick water. It's one time, no, not at band camp, but at my friend's house, high school. We're all hanging out, and having some drinks, and going outside, having a puff of various things, and generally getting inebriated and having a good time. And as some of you may know, sometimes your mouth gets dry, especially when you've been smoking. So we're just hanging out in his bedroom listening to music, and I'm just kind of sitting there going, man, I could really use a drink of something. I look around, and up on his window ledge, I see a 3/4 full glass of water. And I'm like, well, shit. Asking ye prayers shall be answered and stuff, right? So I grabbed a glass of water and downed about half of it. It's kind of stale, room temperature. But, it was wet, so I was relieved. And, anyway, slowly the realization dawned upon me that my male friend and his girlfriend, sitting at the other end of the bed at this point from me, had shocked and horrified expressions on their faces and started to, laugh uncontrollably, which confused me because, I'm just like, well, what? I was thirsty. And so they carried on for a bit, and then eventually when they settled down, my buddy red-facedly admitted that it was the glass of water that he used to wash his dick off in after having sex.
Hello? What the
Which was horrifying to realize, of course, and it scared me for life. Although I had no way of knowing, so I don't necessarily feel embarrassed that I did something horrifying based on a conscious decision. I was an innocent victim. So yeah, be careful what you drink, I guess. You don't know what it is, don't put it in your mouth. It's another good thing to learn to live by. So there you go. Embarrassing story. Dirty dick water. It's not clickbait. And now that's in your head. You can think about that now. You're welcome. It's kind of like the whole little thing about ducks having multiple false vaginas. There you go. Duck vagina squirrel. First time ever. You were here to see it. Pardon my appearance, by the way. I've been doing a bit of acting on the side, so, I didn't want to fuck with the makeup and go back and forth all the time because that gets expensive. Anyway, the reason a person might want to tell a fucking ridiculous story like that leads me to kind of a little bit of depth to this random dirty dick water squirrel. And that is simply, if you really want to get to know someone, ask them to tell you an embarrassing story. Not because you want to get dirt on them, but hearing a story like that from someone, first of all, if they're willing to tell, it tells you that they're fairly confident and comfortable with themselves. Or it tells you that they're perhaps too eager to please and to fit in and be accepted because they're insecure, and in such a state might tell a story that another person might keep to themselves. I don't know. I'd like to stay on the positive side of that, I guess. But what embarrasses them tells you a lot about that person. Whether it's being naked in public, whether it's being seen drunken and out of control in public, because some people are very about being in control of themselves. which is why making an ass of myself kind of consciously, when those few moments in my life when I've been way too drunk for my own good are the sorts of things that I might feel embarrassment about. Because I might feel that in a way I acted like a fool or perhaps was disrespectful to someone in some way. Where ordinarily I would never do that sort of thing. But thankfully it hasn't happened too much, and, you know, I've never hurt anybody. Or done anything that wound me up in the drunk tank or in jail or anything. So, I'm a pretty peaceful drunk. But anyway, another interesting question to ask people is what scares them.
Home and get drunk. Like I care.
Yeah, exactly. Whoopee, going to get drunk. Good for you. I like to ask that question, and not because I want to creep people out, like, hey, what scares you? And I'm like, that's kind of a creepy question to ask. Well, yeah, I guess, you know, if you don't know the person asking, it depends on their, you know, the entire intent. But knowing what scares a person can tell me a lot about them, you know, their views on life, death, personal image. Someone might say, you know, what scares them is what might seem something superficial, you know, like being naked in public, you know. But if they're not body conscious, they'd be like, well, you know, it would be embarrassing, but so what? You know, hey, have a gander. You know, I'm not ashamed. Some people it'd be death. Well, what's this? Oh, sorry, dude.
Stupid dick. My turn.
Oh, wrong guy. No, listen, I'm not in the mood. Go away. Fuck. Anyway, where was I? This guy hasn't noticed a thing. He's on his fucking phone. Anyway, kind of forgot where I was. Random dickhead Squirrel. I've never noticed this before. Alright, I'm getting really sidetracked. So that was one thing. That was it. That was kind of, you know, interesting questions to ask people, because there's always different ways of getting to know people than what do you do for a job, or, you know, what do you like. I mean, knowing what someone likes is good. Knowing what they dislike is equal, as far as getting to know them, knowing what scares them and embarrasses them. Find out what a person really loves, what they're really passionate about, and what they're really passionately against. There's not really a point to that. It's just, you know, be unconventional when you ask things of people and want to get to know them. You know, don't be shy about it. Don't be a dick about it. But, you know, ask unconventional questions and you'll really get to know people. And, boom, there. Next thing I don't get. Completely off on a different topic. And it's kind of a racism-based issue, or at least a discrimination-based issue. Something I heard on the radio in my area. And it started in Halloween. There was people that were like saying it was not inclusive, and I don't know what the whole big hubbub was. I didn't really pay attention because I think Halloween's just a fun time for kids to dress up, have a good time, get candy. You know, it's just a fun holiday. It's not about anything anymore, you know, and its roots are from all over the place. It's been modified so much. It was originally pagan and blah, 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 blah. Well, that's not the point. There was this young girl, and not that it matters, but I'm going to include racial and cultural details as I understood them in this story, because it's the way it happened. You know, so I'm not picking the groups or the perspectives in this story. They were their actual, you know, from what I heard. So there was this girl, a little white girl, and she wanted to dress up as Jasmine, the Disney princess, in, I can't remember what it's in. I'm not really up on Disney movies, but she was like an Indian princess, East Indian, you know, from India. Not the politically incorrect term for Native North Americans. Anyway, so she wanted to dress up as Jasmine because she loved Jasmine. You know, she wanted to dress up like her and pretend she was her, and she saw a role model in her and didn't give a shit that she was white and Jasmine was Indian. Like, it wasn't even in that thing that entered in her mind, or that Jasmine was a little brown girl and this was a little white girl. And, you know, I don't mean to use the term, you know, like brown people incorrectly. I mean, literally, her skin color was, brown. But the little girl that wanted to dress up as her didn't see any of that. There was no racial or cultural discrimination going on there. She just saw an awesome person that she wanted to be like. And that's awesome. That is the lack of racism or discrimination, that is seeing the person through all that without, it being a thing because their skin color is different or because their race is different. But there were certain people of the same or similar race and culture as Jasmine, the character. And they were upset because the white girl wanted to dress up like Jasmine, and they said that that's not right, that she can't dress up as Jasmine because she's white.
It's total crunch time right now. We got 3 seconds.
And, and I'm not trying to be like, a whiny white person going on about racism against white people. It was just racism, period. And should it be okay, should it be acceptable for a minority that is quite often discriminated against to do the same thing? Well, no, of course not. We have to apply the same rules of equality to everyone, regardless of race, or the rules themselves become racist. So in that case, I disagree with the parents, or whoever these people were that were against this, because it goes it just doesn't, it's not inclusive, and it pisses me off, and I don't get it. So that's another thing to add to my list of things that I don't get. And, I guess that's really, I don't have too much else to fucking say, or any other things that I don't, well, fuck, okay, there's an armload of things I don't get, but I can't think of anything specific right now that I have anything to say about. But I was stewing about that for a little while, and I kind of wanted to do a bit of a squirrel on it, but it wasn't a long enough issue for me to do a whole long thing about. And I was feeling kind of silly and cantankerous this morning, so I thought I'd share the Dirty Dickwater story as a good analogy for my few and loyal viewers to get to know me a little bit better, and to humanize myself, because the only way I appear online in these sort of things is as my GTA character, because I don't have cameras and up-to-date laptops and anything like that, so I don't have the ability to appear as myself. So in many ways I try to appear as much like myself online as I really can. And although I don't normally look like my usual GTA character, today I actually happen to look quite a bit like myself. Except, in real life my hair is about the same color, but my face is pretty much completely gray now. So I'm half and half. Although I've got the lovely Sean Connery salt and pepper side thingies, so I fucking love that part. That's alright. Yeah, alright. That's enough. So half silly, half dirty squirrel. As usual. Be excellent to one another. Don't stop thinking.